21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
These rats live 90% longer. Maybe you can too. My name is Chris Burres. I'm the chief scientist at MyVitalC, and I want to tell you a little story about a little molecule. And when I say little molecule, it's actually an extremely tiny molecule. It's only 10 angstroms. And don't worry, that's a unit you're probably not used to using. It's incredibly small. It's only 60 carbon atoms. By the way, if you're just listening, imagine a soccer ball where the lines on the soccer ball represent the bonds between the carbon atoms. You have a spherical molecule of 60 carbon atoms. This molecule was discovered in 1985 at Rice University here in Houston. That's where I'm based. And the three scientists who discovered it actually won the Nobel Prize for that discovery. We like to say that this is a Nobel Prize winning molecule. I think we can all agree that molecules don't win Nobel Prize, but you get what we're saying. This molecule is absolutely amazing in industrial applications. It performs as well or better than the current best material in almost every application. So it makes better inks, better batteries, better tires, better photocells. And you're probably thinking, Chris, you said I could live 90% longer. Ink, battery, tires, photocells doesn't make me think we're talking about the same subject. Don't worry, the story gets worse first. This molecule, because of one of the facets, one of the shapes on the exterior of the soccer ball molecule, looks like benzene. Benzene is known to be toxic and is known to be carcinogenic. Now, to be sure, without benzene, we don't have modern society, right? If you just glance around your room, wherever you're at, maybe you're in a car listening to the podcast, anything that's plastic goes away without benzene, right? So we do not have modern society without benzene. But in reality, benzene is known to be toxic and a known carcinogen. So for that reason and this shape, they assumed that it would be exactly the same, that it would be toxic. So they threw it in a toxicity study. In that study, they gave test subjects. In this case, it was Wistar rats. They gave them water, olive oil, and then olive oil with the molecule that we describe, ESS60. Instead of being toxic, the test subjects that they gave the ESS60 and olive oil, really the MyVitalC formula to, lived 90% longer than the control group. So that's the single longest longevity experimental result in history, and it's peer-reviewed published research, the kind of research that you would want to hang your hat onto. That was really the publication that changed my business partner and I from being happy-go-lucky carbon nanomaterial scientists. Yes, that's us. We're those happy-go-lucky carbon nanomaterial scientists into getting into the supplement industry. And I want to tell a little bit more of this story because this is where, you know, there are a lot of entrepreneurs listening, and you may hesitate or you may have a very dramatic change in business opportunities. And this is how we kind of took this course. The publication came out in mid-2012. By mid-2013, we started getting phone calls of people saying, hey, how much of this stuff should I be consuming? What's the proper dose? And you have to imagine we're conservative carbon nanomaterial scientists, and we're saying to them, hey, wait. So you're asking us how much of this stuff that we sell to research institutions around the world to put in inks, batteries, tires, and photocells, how much should you consume? And the answer was an unequivocal 0. Like, we actually added not for human consumption to our labeling. Now, let me just clarify. The literature was clear that this molecule was safe, right? But we're conservative carbon nanomaterial scientists, and we're just not comfortable in this realm, so not for human consumption. That happened about mid-2013. Really, everything shifted in 2017, and I'll talk about that in just one second. But between 2013 and 2017, we were getting 2-3 phone calls per week, and it would be people going, hey, I'm taking your product and your knee pain is gone. And we would be, you mean the knee pain of your rat, right? Because it literally says not for human consumption on the labeling. And so, we know this is going on. This is a group of people called biohackers, which I can call them wacky because I am now a biohacker. And they were just reporting unbelievable testimonials. At the same point, my business partner and I are getting together like every quarter, every 3 months, and we're saying, okay, do we want to bring a supplement to market? Is that something we're interested in? It's a very different market than carbon nanomaterial manufacturing and delivering those carbon nanomaterials to research institutions around the world. And we just, each time we said no, like this is not something that we really want to jump into. In that time frame, again, between 2013 and 2017, I found a peer-reviewed published research paper that said 50% of the supplements that they had purchased off the market did not have in them what they said they had in them, right? So again, very different than carbon nanomaterial manufacturing and delivering to research institutions around the world. Finally, at the latter part of 2017, a guy with a big YouTube following started talking about all the benefits he was getting taking our product on a daily basis. And our phone went from ringing 2 to 3 times per week to 10 times per day. And that's when my business partner and I were like, okay, great. We're happy-go-lucky carbon nanomaterial scientists. This is an entrepreneurial opportunity beyond what we realized. And what are we going to do with this? And we really asked ourselves 2 questions. The first question is a moral question. Am I comfortable selling this, or are we comfortable selling this? I take it. My wife takes it. Everybody on our team takes it. So yes, we're comfortable. By the way, it's not a requirement to work on our team. You don't have to take the product. But yeah, so now we know that we're comfortable selling it. The next question was related to kind of legal issues. The FDA and the FTC are the ones who are governing bodies in this situation. And you got to cross the T's, you got to dot the I's. And so that's when we really started bringing this molecule to light. And by the way, I'm holding up a book here, Live Longer and Better. It's a book I wrote about this entire journey. It has kind of business advice. There was actually the story I fell asleep behind the wheel of a car in the middle of starting this business, and talks about kind of exactly how scary that was, and also how exciting the carbon nanomaterial marketing and manufacturing business was for me. And then like goes into like what you can do to live longer. Because now I'm in the realm of longevity as a longevity expert. I just am completing the videos, the actual speaker/interviews for my longevity summit. It's called Uncovering the Secrets to Longevity, Live Beyond the Norms. That comes out at the latter part of February. So I'm excited about that. I've got to interview some amazingly intelligent people, some people who are working on cutting edge kind of medical solutions, dietary solutions, movement, like exercise solutions. And it's been an amazing journey to kind of propel me into this longevity expert role that now I've landed in. When I share the story, and this is the story about test subjects, in this case, Wistar rats, living 90% longer than the control group. By the way, we'll talk a little bit, maybe later, maybe it'll come up, but the test subjects typically get tumors. And the longer they live, the more tumor mass they have in the body. Even though the MyVital C rats lived out to 62 months, so almost 90% longer than the control group, none of them had any tumors. So it's a pretty fantastic result, not just this 90% extension of life. When I share that story, I kind of get 2 responses. So these rats live 90% longer, and if they live in New York, they're like, why would we want rats to live longer? How do we bury this, Chris? You need to stop talking about this. We don't want rats living longer. And then another interesting result is, the next one is like, well, what's the mechanism of action? Like, how is this working? Okay, great. You take this. By the way, a 90% extension of life is fantastic. It's the single longest longevity experimental result on mammals. The next best way to live longer is actually called calorie restriction. If you reduce your calorie consumption by 30%, they've done this test in many animal models, so it's basically guaranteed that you can extend your life by 30%. I call that the starve yourself 1/3 to death diet. Not many people like to sign up for that particular diet. Maybe they need a new marketing company or a new tagline. But think about the contrast, like reduce your calorie consumption by 30%, starve yourself 1/3 to death, or take this product that's olive oil with this ESS60 molecule in it, right? So I'm obviously going for the ESS60 molecule all the time. Now, what's the mechanism of action for this? Like, how is this extending life? And the best way to think about this is the medical community thinks about aging really in two perspectives. So one is that it's an oxidative issue, right? So we get oxidized and that's causing aging. And it's an inflammation. And inflammation is so important. They've actually kind of coined the term inflammaging, right? So inflammation is aging you, so inflammaging. And our product ticks both of those boxes. And I'm going to kind of run through that because it's pretty important. First, in terms of oxidation, we are an antioxidant. There's peer-reviewed published research that shows it to be 125 times more powerful than vitamin C. There's actually an ad hoc study out on the web that's 172 times more powerful than vitamin C. So we can check that box, right? And I'm actually going to come back to that because there's some pretty amazing stuff. By the way, again, this is in the book Live Longer and Better, so we'll give you a link. You'll be able to find it. You can get an autographed version of it. And in fact, when you purchase an autographed version of it, the extra dollars for the autograph go directly to a charity, which is called Operation Underground Railroad. Phenomenal charity. Their focus. There was actually a movie called The Sound of Freedom. And that charity is focused on getting rid of child sex trafficking. So what amazing cause. And so all of the money that goes to me signing it actually goes directly to them. I'm excited about that. So all of that's in the book. The next thing to talk about, so we talked about inflammation. We talked about antioxidant. Now let's talk about inflammation. What the FDA, you have to be very careful when you talk about inflammation because the FDA has very strict guidelines, and I think they're the appropriate guidelines. When you start talking about inflammation, the FDA says you're actually talking about the diseases of inflammation. So that's Alzheimer's, that's arthritis, that's cardiovascular disease, that's even cancers. So you have to be careful because you can't make those claims. What the FDA does allow us to say is that our product addresses inflammation related to exercise-induced inflammation. So we've all had a really tough workout or maybe just walked farther than we normally do and felt that inflammation the next day. Our product addresses that inflammation. What we're not allowed to say yet, we just need to dig in and do more research, is that we address any other type of inflammation. And I kind of point out that our product fits perfectly in an anti-inflammatory diet. So that anti-inflammatory diet that's associated with the blue zone people, these are people who tend to live longer. They tend to have reduced incidences of heart attacks. They tend to have reduced incidences of strokes. That anti-inflammatory diet we fit perfectly into. So I said we were going to come back to antioxidant. And so there's a new theory, and this is relatively new with some good peer-reviewed published research to support the theory. We know, and it's called the BOSS theory, buffering oxidative stress system. So we know that this soccer ball shaped molecule can get into the mitochondria. So that's peer-reviewed published research shows that we actually have it resident in the mitochondria. We also know from way back in the 90s when this was discovered that it can hold up to 6 negatively charged particles, 6 electrons, 6 negatively charged particles on the exterior of this soccer ball cage. Well, that's really a reactive oxygen species is a negatively charged particle. It's the thing that causes oxidative stress and oxidative damage. So I want you to picture the mitochondria, right? The powerhouse of every cell. And just like any other powerhouse, your car going down the road, it's got exhaust coming out. The smokestack on a power plant, it's got this exhaust. They're bad byproducts that come out of this power production process. In the case of the mitochondria, it's reactive oxygen species. So these are those elements that will actually do damage to the body. They're the ones who are causing the oxidative stress. What the mitochondria has resident to manage those is glutathione and melatonin. Those are two great, melatonin is the sleep hormone. They are both great antioxidants, and they're the ones that are resident inside of the mitochondria. So imagine from time to time, your mitochondria can get overwhelmed. So I picture it like, imagine you're at Mardi Gras, right? You're on Bourbon Street, it's the end of the night, and the reactive oxygen species are the drunk people running around, smashing windows and tearing down light bulbs. And you actually have the glutathione and the melatonin, the police, to handcuff themselves to those reactive oxygen species and get them off of Bourbon Street. But if the police get overwhelmed, if the melatonin and mitochondria and glutathione are overwhelmed, then that's when this ESS60 molecule can come in, because it can hold these like a paddy wagon, right? You just throw up to 6 of them on here. Now they can't run around and break the windows and tear down the light posts. Now they're actually held onto until the glutathione and the melatonin can be replenished, and now they can bond to them, handcuff themselves to them, and take them out of the system. And so that's the buffering oxidative stress system. It's a new idea, it's a new concept, and really is why we think we get testimonials from head to toe. We really do, and I'm going to start talking a little bit about testimonials. So it's important to share that the FDA has not evaluated our product. It is not intended to treat, diagnose, prevent, or cure any disease, right? So when we start thinking about testimonials, we've got people talking about hair growing faster, I've got one guy who a crab bit his big toe and split the toenail. Now he's in his 60s and the toenail has finally reclosed. Right? This is an age where your body's not typically repairing itself as well as it does. And now his toe has regrown. Now, it's interesting because hair and nail growth tend to be the last thing that your body will focus on. If you've got other health considerations, your body focuses on those first, right? So really nails and hair are mostly aesthetic, and your body's like, we don't need to be aesthetic, we need to be as healthy as possible. And so if you're dealing with any sort of inflammation or oxidation or whatever particular damage, your body's like, we're going to focus here, and we're going to let the hair go, and we're going to let the nails go. And one of our consistent testimonials is people report skin, hair, and nail improvements. And we believe that's because it's supporting the system overall, and that allows the system to now start focusing on hair, skin, and nails.
We don't really know where the world is gonna go, but now everybody knows that you can't stop for too long. Got to keep going. Don't really know where the world is gonna go, but now everybody knows that you can't stop for too long. Got to keep going. Don't really know where the world is gonna go, but now everybody knows that you can't stop for too long. Got to keep going.
So a lot of people ask, okay, great, these test subjects live longer. They live 90% longer. I kind of like to joke, in the original research where the Wistar rats lived 90% longer, there was no notation that these Wistar rats were walking around with little rat walkers or little rat oxygen tanks, right? Like they lived healthy rat lives. They just lived them 90% longer. And so people ask about the different testimonials, and I can share our absolutely most consistent testimonial is people take the product in the morning, they report mental focus and energy during the day, and then better sleep that night, right? And the reality is, we threw out the BOSS theory, buffering oxidative stress system theory. Even if the only thing this did was improve your sleep, we all know that sleep is good for your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. So if that's all it did, that would explain head-to-toe testimonials that we have. I like to share, just because I'm weird and it's fun, arguably the worst testimonial about a supplement that you've ever heard. So it starts off, Gwen is one of our big distributors here in Houston, and she originally purchased the product for her dog. She had no intent of taking it. She was like, I'm just going to give it to my dog. I'm going to try it. She's got I can never remember if it's a Shih Tzu or a Pekingese, but they're very similar dog, right? And she noticed such a profound difference in her dog that she decided, I need to take this. So Gwen was like, I've got to take this product. One of the things that I like about that is there is no opportunity for placebo effect with a pet, right? Ironically, pets aren't smart enough to trick themselves into feeling healthier, right? They're not like, oh, I got my little dropper of olive oil, because we actually do have a dog product. I got my little dropper of olive oil with bacon essence today. So today I'm going to have more energy. Today my fur is going to look better. Everything is going to be better about today. No, they either feel it or they don't. So then Gwen ordered the product, and I actually did a video with her, and she shared in that video that if you had asked her at the 3-month mark if she had noticed anything, her first response would have been no. No, I haven't noticed anything. And then she said, I stopped and I kind of took stock of my life. And I was actually working a little bit later. I was getting up earlier, and I was never a morning person. And then here's arguably the worst testimonial about a supplement ever. I cleaned my garage. By the way, that's not on any of our advertising material. Clean your garage. If you want to clean your garage, take my Vital C. But I also do think this means something. And I'll share one more testimonial here in a second about sleep. What is it that's holding you back from that project, right? Is it emotional? Is it just time? Is it energy? Sometimes maybe it's all three. And she found, because sometimes there's stuff in your garage you just don't want to dig through kind of because of the emotional baggage. And then other times it's just you don't have the energy to address it. And so that really is a powerful solution. And given that sleep is one of our most consistent testimonials, I actually picked up a book. There's a book called Why We Sleep by Dr. Matthew Walker. It's an amazing book. I highly recommend you read it. I call it the Freddy Krueger of sleep books, except it's got this caveat, because Freddy Krueger from the movie Nightmare on Elm Street, he would actually be in your dreams and scare you out of your dreams. This book is so scary that it'll scare you into your dreams, meaning you will understand that you need to get more sleep. Sleep is paramount for your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. As I'm reading that book, I'm reading this book called Lifespan by Dr. David Sinclair. And really what's happening is I'm delving into this world of both biohacking and longevity, this space of longevity. And if I'm going to come on shows, I want to have expertise. So I actually put together a health summit. It's called Uncovering the Secrets of Longevity, Live Beyond the Norms. And in that, I actually have one more interview that comes live in February. I will have interviewed 55 top leaders in the longevity space about longevity ideas, concepts. How do we stay healthy? How do we have a better health span? All of these things were discussed in this. And I've interviewed really in the biohacking and longevity space some really well-known and well-respected people, including Dr. Gundry, Dave Asprey. He's the creator of Bulletproof Coffee, and Ben Greenfield. He wrote a book called Boundless, which is actually amazing, and is a regular speaker in the longevity and biohacking spheres. And then finally, Sergey Young. He's actually X Prize. So X Prize is an amazing prize that they give to different technologies. So the first one, and maybe the best known one, was to launch a space rocket into space, have it come back, and then within 24 hours, but certainly within 48 hours, send that same rocket back into space. And whoever got that won the X Prize. Now, the X Prize at that time was $1 million, which clearly didn't even cover the fuel for the first launch, let alone both launches and all the research behind it. But it was a source of pride to try and win this X Prize. Well, they just announced the largest X Prize ever. $101 million goes to the group. It's called the Health Span X Prize. And it goes to the group that can extend life, document that they're extending life by 10 years with a target of 20. And Sergey Young is a longevity investor who provided the first funds, and I think it was $1 million, the first funds to get that X Prize up and running. So Sergey Young, I interviewed. That was a fascinating, when you think about, how do you want to understand the landscape of longevity? You talk to somebody who is investing in longevity because they have their hand in the cookie jar of every longevity technology. They know what's coming down. What's the testing look like? How is this going to be an amazing thing in the future? And all of that. And then, I guess I just mentioned 4. So there's another 51 longevity experts that are interviewed for this. And it was really kind of a way to help kind of guide focus for the book, Live Longer and Better. So I'm pretty excited about that summit and when that comes out. Often when I tell these stories, people are like, okay, where can I get that? That sounds like I'm kind of interested in 90% extension of life. By the way, we have a lot more testing to do to kind of nail that in for humans, but there's good reason to believe the applicability. Where do I go? So the website is, and we've got a website for this audience, it's myvitalc.com/21st, right? Standing for 21st century entrepreneurship. So that's the 21ST, 21st. And we also have a coupon code. It's for $15 off, and it's 21st, also 21ST. And when you land on that page, we have, our typical product is there. We've got an MCT. We do recommend the olive oil. That's our base unit, and I'll cover that. There's two reasons. First, we're a research-based organization, and all the research is in the ESS60 molecule in olive oil, right? So that's the first reason. The second is the highest concentration of the ESS60 molecule shows up in the olive oil, and then to a lesser degree, the avocado oil, and then to even lesser degree, MCT oil. But when you go there, each of these products is available on subscription. We offer a 25% discount on subscription. Take advantage of that discount. Even if you just want to try one, take advantage of that discount. Our customer service has like 700, I think it's 800 now, 5-star reviews on Google. They're not trained to talk you out of your subscription. I just want you to take advantage of that. If you're interested in the book, again, use that link, myvitalc.com/21st. And then you'll have to click through the menu structure to get to the book. Again, if you purchase the signed copy, the $10 that is paid for the signed copy, that entire $10 goes to Operation Underground Railroad. So really proud about that. You could also go, and right now I don't have a link on the home site, on our website. I'll get it up probably by the time you hear this, where you can actually find a link to the summit. If nothing else, just submit a form. We've got a contact us page, or you can go to the book website, which is livelongerandbetterbook.com. And we actually do have a link to the Health Summit there. And those are the ways that you can kind of track me. Also, please do me a very small favor. Get onto Instagram, get onto Facebook, type in myvitalc, C as in carbon, and make sure you're subscribing and following, because I'm constantly releasing details. In fact, that's probably the best way to know when that Health Summit comes out.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.